Joe after he ran, and I talked to had a little FaceTime with Cam last night, Cam Taylor Britt. So excited for those guys. It's awesome to see them, perform well on a big stage.
You get a lot of teams call you, like just about the draft process, about those guys.
Yeah, a lot of guys call, but throughout the season and preseason camp, just about every team comes, multiple times to watch practice, and then they in-person talk to me, the position coaches. Sometimes the guys, whatever they need to do, and then they'll have some follow-up stuff, pre-draft that they might want to call back about.
Hey, a week into practice, Chinch, what was your objective during that period, and did you feel like you accomplished it?
For the first week?
Yeah.
Our first week was, to get a big chunk of base install in, and then today we had a little third down period, so we had to get some of the just basic third down, mechanisms in. So I think, moving through that first week was teaching the new guys the system, getting a big chunk of install in. I know there's a big chunk. We threw it at them pretty heavy. For some of the guys, it's no big deal. It's old hat, but for a lot of these new guys, they're swimming a little bit in that thing. So we want to get everything in, and then we'll dial it back and detail everything.
What's the biggest thing you have to do to get everybody on the same page?
I think number one is just the communication. And some of these new guys, the way that we practice, things are moving pretty fast and furious. It's, do I get lined up, and then can I communicate with whoever I need, whether it's linebackers to D-line, whether it's safety to safety, safety to corner, safety to outside linebacker, whatever the case may be. It's just getting your feet set in the ground, getting your eyes where you're supposed to be, and then being able to verbalize what your job is.
How do you feel guys are assimilating all this information? Because you just said big information dump.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think there's two separate entities right now. There's a group that's been here, that the new stuff isn't really new. It's just, they've heard the word so many times. And then there's, some incoming freshmen, some transfer, some junior college guys that they've never heard anything. They've never heard us teach technique. They've never heard us teach a drill, and they're getting this big chunk of install. So I think that those guys are a little bit behind as far as schematic stuff. And to me, we will catch them up with that. I just want to see them move around, and I want to see them go hard and not be afraid to make a mistake right now. So they have a little bit of catching up to do, but we'll get there.
How's Kolarvik taken to the nickel?
Yeah, he's done a good job out there. I had no idea how that was going to go, but he's done a good job out there so far. It's been really nice to see him being out there in space and being fluid, and I think we'll get a little bit of more man coverage in as we keep moving through the install, and we'll see how he does with some man coverage. But everything else, he's done a really good job so far.
Does he have a skill set that is complementary or different, or what do you have to do to, when you coach him versus Isaac or Jalen? How do those guys, how do they differ in their ability to play that position?
I don't think they differ much. It's just, technique-wise, body type. You talk about Javen Wright, he can. He could touch you from here, so it's a little different space, ability, alignment. Where do I need to be? Apex plus, apex minus. Playbook might say apex minus, but you're long enough, you can walk out there a little bit farther. So it's just getting those guys comfortable with their bodies and getting comfortable with space. Otherwise, they're all the same, but you gotta use their ability a little bit differently.
Where did how could Gifford raise his game, and what were you looking for from him to go to another level?
Yeah, Isaac's done a really good job. Isaac studies the game. He studies the film. He knows where to be. For him, it's probably just going to be able to make that play a little bit quicker. He's never going to make a really. Everybody makes a mental error, but that's not his game. That's not what he does. But he needs to see those plays happen and boom, just be able to jump on them a little quicker. And that's how I think he ups his game.
Last week, Fisher said Marquise Buford could be kind of a hidden gem in that room. And I know he's a versatile guy. Did you sense coming out of prep school that he had some maturity and has he kind of been what you hoped he would be as a recruit?
Yeah, he's been exactly what we thought he'd be. His prep school coach we knew very well. We knew that he was going to have great character, all the intangibles were going to be there. Then we just had to get him out here and see what he could do. And so far, he's met and exceeded the expectations. He's playing some corner, some nickel. Some corner, some safety. So he's doing a lot of different things for us, and I think that he's going to be able to help the football team a lot.
At what point with that secondary do you want to figure out sort of the puzzle? Is that still a long ways away? Is that something you want by the end of spring? Or
Maybe. There's still a lot of time. you got 2 scrimmages before the spring game that are probably going to tell a big time story. Everybody looks good when we're tagging off, but when you got to tackle somebody to the ground, that tells a little different story. So we'll get a better picture after those scrimmages.
When is the first scrimmage?
I think the first one is maybe Friday.
That's right, yeah.
Were you guys able to be in pads on Saturday, or was it the first day?
No, we were in pads on Saturday.
Okay. So with those young defensive linemen, I know Dawson talked last week about how those guys can't be young anymore. Talking about the redshirt freshmen, Newsome. Have you seen an increase or some different kind of urgency from them coming out this spring?
Yeah, there's a different urgency, and also they're taking a huge workload. There's just not, at that position, there's not a ton of depth right now, just by sheer numbers. So those guys are taking a ton of reps, and I think it's good for them. It's been hard on them. They've been really tired and they've been gassed, but it's been really good for them. We get a lot of reps and we get a lot of film to watch with those guys, but they have had a sense of urgency.
With Marquise, is there a timeline that you want to have kind of decided where you want to put him, or is that ongoing?
No, I think the more that he can learn, especially some of those guys that are very high learners, the more that he can learn, the better he'll know whatever position he's at. And like, Coach Fish, we were talking, and it doesn't make sense to not have him cross-train when he already is doing a really good job at it. That way, if somebody goes down, he can move over. We can slide the next best guy in. We don't have to say, well, the next best guy is the corner, but it's really the 5th guy should be the safety. We can move him around and kind of make that thing work.
When you say high learning, what does that mean?
What's that?
When you say high learning, what does that mean?
Yeah, just he's got a high level of learning. Some of these guys, there's all different kinds of learners. There's different guys learn differently. Some learn off the film, some learn off the walkthrough, some learn on the playbook. Marquise learns it all, and he's got a higher learning, a little bit like Markel DeSmuke, where it's not just where do I line up in cover 3, where do I go. It's understanding what's the issues, what's the spacing, what's my other guys doing around me. And I think once you can get to that level, then you can become a really good football player.
Is Colton Feist the guy who could, maybe people don't talk about as much, but could really help that down?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Feast did a great job last year. Coach, he played on special teams for us, and he got injured last year a little bit. I thought he was going to have a really good year last year, and I think that he'll have a really good year this year. But he's going to be one of those guys that's going to really help that defensive line.
Fisher said he wanted his guys to tackle better. That's secondary. That was going to be an emphasis. Have you guys tackled yet? Have you gotten a sense of that?
No, we've done some tackle drills, but we haven't tackled live in a period yet, so we haven't seen that yet.
With the offense continuing to kind of figure itself out with new coaches, new schemes, how much does that affect what you guys do on the other side?
I don't think it affects what we do, but it's been nice to see a bunch of different stuff. Every time that you run a route versus cover 3 or quarters or whatever. Every time we see a new concept, that's something that the kids have to adjust to. That's something that we have to coach through, especially if we haven't seen it yet. So it's been really good to see all the different, passing concepts they have, some of the new running concepts, some of the new formations. That's really good for us to see because that only makes us better throughout the year.
What is your impression of those new quarterbacks?
Yeah, I mean, so far they've done a really nice job from my end looking at them, but sometimes I don't even know which quarterback's in there because I got too much other stuff going on. But I thought they've done a really nice job throwing the ball down the field. They've done a really nice job keeping themselves alive in the pocket. And, I haven't seen them throwing very many wild balls around out there, so that's really good. So far, so good, I think.
You guys have had 3 on-campus recruiting events since January 22nd. I mean, how much further do you feel like you're ahead than maybe where you were a year ago just by having these types of events on campus?
Yeah, I think, with the combination of, no COVID and us being able to be out in schools in the fall and in the winter time and then this spring and then being able to get guys on campus, we're so much farther ahead than what we were last year at this time.
Those events are I know they're big for every school, but how much bigger are they at a place like Nebraska?
Well, I think it's huge at Nebraska because, when you can get a guy on campus and get him to Lincoln, that's the biggest selling point we have, just to be around the people available, to be in this stadium, to be in these facilities. Getting a guy on campus here it's a make or a break deal.
You talk about those D linemen and the workload. Do you have to watch that close?
Yeah, and Coach Duval, they wear the little GPS things, and so we get a little workload report every practice, and he does a pretty good job of monitoring that. Now we're in a situation where you can't really pull a guy back, but we may have to change a little bit of the drills or change the rotation based on what kind of player load they had in the previous practices.
What's the key to finding success as an undersized defensive back?
What's undersized?
you know, if you were giving up a few inches. It depends on your matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just if you look at all the guys in the Pro Bowl in the last few years, just about there hasn't been. I don't know. There might be. You guys check them. You guys check my facts, but there's not very many guys over 5'10". So once again, what's undersized? I don't know. When you look at defensive backs, you know, I think that there was a phase where everybody wanted these giants, but how many of those guys have succeeded on Sunday? So I don't think there's necessarily an undersized level. It's just, to me, there's a line of demarcation. Like, you know, are you around that 5'10" range? You're big enough. You know, you're not undersized at that point. But your movement skills got to be really good, and you also have to have some arm length, right? So you see all these successful guys, the guys that are a little shorter, they mostly have a big wingspan or long arm length. So I think that undersized, I don't know if I buy into all that.
Good, guys?
Thank you.
All right. See you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
The coach was just talking about you kind of learning safety and corner. What have been the challenges for you trying to learn both those positions at the same time?
I wouldn't really say more of challenge. I'll say it's been more so me having to focus more of my time on football. I'll say, learning multiple positions. As far as me, I'm not even focused on just learning safety and corner. I'm trying to learn the gaps the D-line got, what the nickel has, the linebackers got. So just keeping my head in the playbook, really, trying to figure out as much as the defense as I possibly can before we get to fall camp has really been my goal.
What's the process that you use to learn the playbook, to delineate these positions? Talk about that.
I kind of go formation by formation. I'll sub in each defense that we run at each formation, and then I'll look at what the safety call will have to be, and then I'll think about what the linebacker gap would be, and then I'll even go a step further. I'll try to see if this guy motions across, what are we going to check to, different stuff like that. So, just trying to put myself on the field, even when I'm not on the field, as much as I can, just looking at my playbook.
Do you like playing multiple positions, or would you rather just have one?
I love it. I love being able to go wherever the Coach Fish, Coach Chance, they ask me to go on the field. Even on special teams, I love being able to play multiple positions in that aspect as well. So.
Coach Fish said that safety and quarterback in the defense. When you are in that role, when you're the quarterback in the defense, what does that mean? How does that change your job?
I completely agree with that statement. The safety is responsible for not only his pass drops, but he has to tell the corner what he has. He has to tell the linebacker to his side what he has. Even the nickel, if the nickel's in the game, he has to tell him what he has. And then also, we have to focus on our pass drop, but as well as our run fit too. So.
How would you compare your comprehension of the defense from a year ago?
Completely out of the water. I see myself kind of like helping the younger guys now, like Deontay and Markel and Cam used to help me last year. So they did a great job stepping up, helping me get the playbook. Cam was my roommate. We studied every day, religious. Like, we did that like we woke up and did our morning prayer. So that was a big help for me, I'll say.
How much learning do you have to do compared to high school?
Completely different game. High school, it was more so like I was a smart football player in high school, but it was really athleticism that took me over the top. I didn't really have to focus on what the offense formation was as much as I had to now, and then different stuff like that, knowing what side of the ball the running back's on, if he's in the dot, stuff like that. So, yeah.
Coach Fisher said when you got here, you're one of the more mature freshmen he's had.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what does that mean to you to hear that, and where do you think that stems from for you?
That was probably the greatest compliment I can get, coming there early enrollee freshman. Having my position coach say that I'm one of the most mature freshmen he's had, and he's been coaching for years and years before I got to him. That was a huge honor. And I'll say it stemmed from really just my work ethic and then my drive to get better no matter what it is.
What part of the playbook did you're talking about Cam and Markel and Deontay helping you learn playbook? Is there something specific that they helped you understand?
Everything. As far as coverage, run fits, where everybody else is supposed to be on the field. So it makes my job easier knowing where everybody else is on the field. So I'll say all around the whole defensive playbook, they did a great job helping me with that.
Did you watch Cam at the combine?
Boy was flying, and he looked great in them drills. I'm just say that.
What are your impressions of Casey Thompson? What has made him hard to defend?
Casey is a pro. I'll say that. Even off the field, not everybody talks about what happens off the field. I see Casey in here all day, every day. He's in here watching film. He's not just reading our coverages. I know we're going against each other spring ball right now, but at the end of the day, we're going to be playing against other teams. So he's been going. I know he came from the Big 12 to the Big 10. He's just been going, talking about really how Big 10 teams cover different than Big 12 teams, and then just really getting the fit, and I think he's been doing a great job so far.
What are you excited about people seeing that he can speed or arm accuracy?
He's just all-around great player. I see him. He's he's able to move around out the pocket, but he's not just going to go straight out of the pocket. He's going to sit in the pocket, look for his reads, let the play develop before he just goes and runs.
How would you describe that?
Do you see other guys kind of picking up on that extra work that he's doing, and how do you see that kind of filtering down to the team?
Honestly, this year, I would say the whole team as a whole has been doing a great job with getting extra reps, extra film time, extra everything. Not really anybody has been, I would say, loafing. Like, we've been doing a pretty good job holding everybody accountable. Like, even the folks that people say not gonna play, stuff like that, we feel like everybody is equal. And the people on the scout team are just as important as the people in the one group, stuff like that. So that's been the order we've been trying to carry this season.
How is that attitude going to make this a better team?
I don't really like talking about the future. I just like staying in the present, but it's definitely been showing. Guys have been coming with lunch pail every day, ready to work. Not anybody complaining about getting the extra work in. Everybody is really just forming and grasping it. Even though we have a lot of new guys, everybody's coming together really great.
With those new guys, are there any that jump out to you? And what's that been like in the room with so many, you're mixing so many guys?
Honestly, since I feel like last year was my first year here, I feel like everybody is a new face, really. Like, it's a whole new type of atmosphere to the room, I'll say. Those new guys have been doing a good job, really good job of grasping the playbook and then not only watching it in the film room, but trying to take the mistakes that we correct in the film room to the field. So I feel like those new guys have been doing a great job.
Chinander said he doesn't believe in the concept of oversized corner. He says that as long as you're on 5'10", you're good. What do you think? What is the ideal size for him?
Honestly, I feel like my heart and for the game, I'm not scared of anybody. So if you go out there with that dog mentality that, hey, I don't care how big this dude is, I'm going to win this rep, then it don't matter if you're 4'11" or 5'10" playing corner.
How do you apply that when you're guarding someone who's 3-4 inches big?
It is what it is. You guys show me that you better than me, straight like that. So I feel like if you come out with that mentality, then how do you lose? Like, if you just refuse to lose and then you put the work in not to lose, then at the end of the day, more than likely you're going to be winning.
Sorry if you've been asked this. How much corner are you playing compared to safety?
Right now, I've been learning everything, like, in the film room, but as far as, like, on the field, I've only been playing safety right now. Yes, sir.
Hey, Marquise, Coach Fish was talking last week about the makeup of the defensive back room and how around Christmas time after the season, it was really short on numbers. You guys were, looking around and, not seeing a lot, and then they went out and got a bunch of new guys.
Yep.
Obviously, that adds competition. So how did you guys who were returning, how did you take to that? What kind of a message did that send to you about how he wants this room to mix, and what's it been like meshing in all these new guys?
One thing I can say about Coach Fish, nobody has a spot secured. Every day is a competition. He wants his guys to be the most competitive guys on the field, and honestly, at the DB position, that's how it has to be. You have to be the most competitive edge, heavy guy on the team. So I feel like bringing in those new guys was what happens. That's what normally happens. We didn't look at it as, Fish trying to replace us, this, and that. We took it as, yep, we got some more dudes in, we got some newer faces in, let's get to it. We finna compete with them the same way we were competing with each other last year.
So what are the interactions generally like between, the new group and the old group when you've been out there these 4 practices?
It's all love. Like, I see a new guy that plays the same position as me mess up on the field, I'm going to coach him up the same way those guys last year were coaching me up when I made a mistake on the field. So it's not any hate towards anyone. It's friendly competition. So we know that we competing with each other, but we not going to be just out there dogging each other, hating on each other, letting each other mess up on the play at the end of the day, because regardless, we don't know what happens in a football game. Anybody can be out there on the field. So just having everybody be able to have the same really mindset level is the biggest thing.
Impressed by the mentality that any of those guys have brought?
Oh, yeah. everybody, like all 7 of those guys have come in and they've done a phenomenal job. In the film room every day, we talk constantly. Like we have our own little group chat aside from the one with Coach Fish where we're communicating with each other constantly. So, yeah, I feel like it's been a great bond that we've been able to form these first few weeks.
What's your coaching style?
Say that one more time.
Coach you guys up. What's your coaching style?
Coach Fish?
No, you.
Oh,
You're
me?
talking to people.
It depends on what it is. Like, if you out there loafing, it's gonna be a loud getting at you. But like, if it's just like a little subtle mistake, I'll probably wait till you get to the sideline, till you come here. Like, hey, tell me what you saw, like what made you do that, and then more so, what you should be looking at opposed to what you saw when you made the mistake.
How comfortable do you feel when you're a young guy? How comfortable do you feel doing that with older guys?
I have no problem with it at all. I feel like everybody should hold everyone accountable. Like, even if a newer guy comes in and he sees me messing up, I feel like he should hold me accountable the same way I would hold him accountable.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just to confirm, Marquise, right?
Marquise.
Okay.